So here is a transfer team from a cartridge onto Stadium for the Poke Cup, which is the equivalent of the official competitive Pokemon format. So this team is built as if it was going to be a competitive team for VGC in Gen 1. Pretty much the rules of this cup are that your level limit is between 50 and 55 as long as the total level of your team doesn't exceed 155. So Starmie and Tauros are going to be my level 52s on this team. Starmie and Tauros both are some of the most balanced Pokemon you could possibly use. Their stats are all around pretty great, and they have great coverage moves. Starmie in particular, with Surf, Psychic, and Thunderbolt, getting Stab off of 2 of those. It's already a great Pokemon, but it also has its own form of recovery that is going to make sure that it lasts against whatever your opponent has. Articuno is more of a gimmicky Pokemon on this set, just to fill up that 6th spot. I didn't want to fill it in with something like a Dragonite or a Mewtwo as a sweeper, since I already had plenty of those. So this one's for more of when you're not sure what to throw out against your opponent. You can just Toxic and Fly, that way you can stall them out a little bit, or you could just go for some Stab Blizzards. Blizzard was pretty overpowered in Gen 1, even after it got nerfed a little bit for Stadium. Articuno is probably one of the most powerful Blizzard users you can actually use, and that's why it's on this team. Rhydon is another great, rounded out Pokemon, really high defense, really high attack. It can suffer from having so many weaknesses, being both rock and ground type. It's going to take a lot of heavy hits from water and grass types, but for some reason in the Poke Cup, there's not a whole lot of special moves coming out. It's a lot of physical attacks for some reason, which does make it harder for Snorlax to be more viable, but Rhydon does really well, especially since so many Pokemon in Gen 1 are poison types. They're going to be weak to that Stab Earthquake. Like I just said, Snorlax isn't as useful in Stadium as it really was in VGC. Snorlax is it's really overpowered because it gets access to Amnesia, which can really boost its special stat, and that's going to make it so that it can take any special move, it can tank it out, recover with rest, and pretty much you're just going to be using Psychic as a coverage move against fighting types, and then Hyper Beam just for some huge stab damage. There are a ton of other sets you can run with Snorlax. Because it's a normal type, it's going to get lots and lots of moves that it can possibly learn. A lot of people want to use Body Slam on it. It's also high damage. You don't have to spend a turn recovering like you do with Hyper Beam, but the Hyper Beam is more of a last-ditch effort for Snorlax. If you know it's going to be knocked out, you can try to get one of those attacks off the turn before. Exeggutor is king in Gen 1. After the special split happened in Gen 2, it took a huge hit and wasn't useful anymore, but it was really great in Gen 1, where its special stat made sure that it was attacking and defending special moves very well. With this one, you also get a form of recovery, which is essential for the VGC format and for this type of Poke Cup. So you're going to be dealing a lot of damage with Psychic. For all of those physical attackers, you're going to have a Reflect go up. And while you're doing that, you can also use Leech Seed and Mega Drain, which are going to be Stab Mega Drains coming off to just recover all of the HP that you're losing after that. This particular Tauros, I have 3 coverage moves, and then again, Hyper Beam just because it's a ton of damage after Stab. Ice Beam, Thunderbolt, and Earthquake are going to be hitting almost everything you can come across in this game for super effective attacks. And then Tauros's stats all around are pretty great, mainly its speed. Speed is what really makes it stand out. Tauros and Starmie have pretty good speed, which allows you to get those coverage attacks off sooner than your opponent possibly could. So generally speaking, you're going to have your Starmie and Exeggutor as your special sweepers. You're going to have Tauros, Snorlax, and Rhydon as kind of your walls, both special or physical, depending on what you're up against. And then Articuno's just in there as just another coverage Pokemon for if you're coming across Dragon types, or if you just need a wall breaker or some kind of stall that can reduce your opponent's HP with Toxic. And yes, I get it, using a transfer team isn't all that fun, but I had fun just building the team, transferring it over, see how it actually worked in Stadium as opposed to a team that is standard for VGC. So, no rentals this time. I'm not that punishing to myself, but let's see where this team can go.
It's underway! Pokemon Tournament Poke Cup Master Master Ball. Who will be the Master Trainer to win it all? A Psychic Blast! Oh, this Pokemon looks wrong. That was quick. Down already. There's been major action already. Oh, it's Neo Queen. This is a fight between two different types of Pokemon. Savage Attack. Whoa, looks like a bad Pokemon choice. Gone! It's a one-hit wonder. There's a difference in the number of reserve Pokemon. Oh, it's Poliwrath. The remaining Pokemon count is 3-1. The battle has become one-sided. What's that? Wow, that's a second hit. What now? The special stat is down. The crowd's excitement is building over this hot battle. What's this? Perfect hit! What'll it do? That was weak. The intense battle continues. Right, that's serve. Yeah, it's a hit. Wow, going down. And there goes the battle. What kind of battle can we expect to see? Begin round 2. Hit you, Thunder Wave! Oops, it's paralyzed! It's paralyzed on the spot! They're just trading warning blows now. What's this? Severe hit! Earthquake! It's doubly effective! The crowd's excitement is building over this hot battle! Here's a Pokemon chain. Oh, it's Executive! What's next? And the weak spot! Will this Pokemon swap change the flow of battle? Leaf Seed! There, it's a hit! Savage Attack! No! This Pokemon looks wrong! The intense battle continues! What'll it do? Boom! Ice Beam! Wow, that's an effective hit! Go! Is it down and out? Which Pokemon is coming out? Oh, it's Xehanort! It has to make up for lost ground. This is a fight between two different types of Pokemon. It popped off its special rating. Vigorous attack! Whoa! Looks like a bad Pokemon choice. Fireworks are flying in this battle. Body Slam! Good hit! It's finally taken down. We're waiting for the next Pokemon. Oh, it's Executive! We're evenly matched with two Pokemon aside. Neither Pokemon is backing down. What now? A decent hit! There's the attack! Round 0! Oh! It's down! There's only one Pokemon left in reserve. There's nothing left in reserve. The remaining Pokemon stock is 2-1. The tense battle continues. What's this? Oops, it's paralyzed! A Psychic Blast! There, it's a hit! What will the next Pokemon be? Oh, it's Carl! Oh, it's Hypno! The Pokemon are entirely different types. They strike fighting poses. What's that? That's a good hit! It's stronger against special attacks. The intense battle continues! Harsh blow! Oh! It's down! There's only one Pokemon left in reserve. Oh, it's Dango! The remaining Pokemon stock is 2-1. The tense battle continues. Hypnosis! Oh no, it fell asleep! It woke up! The heated battle rages on! What now? It fell asleep again! It's fast asleep! How will this snooze affect the battle?
Oh man, look at that tongue. Look at it go.
It woke up! The crowd's excitement is building over this hot battle! What's this? The move failed to click! Earthquake! Super effective! Both Pokemon are exhausted. What's that? It didn't work. How's that? That was hurt! Oh! Is it down and out? And there goes the battle! The crowd's excitement is building! This is round 4! They strike fighting poses. He's made himself more evasive. What will the trainer do now? No! This Pokemon looks wrong! Neither one is conceding an inch. It's still improving its state. Wow! Mega Drain! Perfect game! Oh! Is it down and out? What Pokemon will be fighting next? Oh, it's Starmie! The remaining Pokemon count is 3-2. This battle is still up in the air. The attack wasn't effective.
And another great thing about Stadium is you got to see Pokemon kind of idle in different ways, I guess. Because in the anime, Starmie always looked really stiff and it didn't move much, but in this it's all wobbly and spinny. I don't know, it's just kind of nice being able to see them dance around and feint in weird ways.
There's a distinct difference in the number of remaining Pokemon. Oh, it's Rhydon! The remaining Pokemon count is 3-1. The battle has become one-sided. So it is! Blizzard! That's the weak spot! What'll it do? Super effective! What a furious battle! Now. How's that? Wow, that's an effective hit! Savage attack! It's doubly effective! Oh! It's down! And there goes the battle! with the exchange of Pokemon. Oh, it's Snorlax! What's this? It's confused! Will this Pokemon swap change the flow of battle? What now? Harsh Blow! Uh-oh, it's confused! Sparks are flying in this heated match! Hydro Pump! Drill that weak spot! Oh! It's down! What will the next Pokemon be? Oh, it's Bomb! This is a fight between two different types of Pokemon. What'll it do? That's the weak spot! What's that? It's confused! Fireworks are flying in this battle! Whoa! It attacked itself! What's this? A status hit! The crowd's excitement is building over this hot battle! Right! Thunderbolt! It's got the effect! It's finally taken down! There's only one Pokemon left in reserve! Oh, it's Gengar! The remaining Pokemon stock is 2-1. The tense battle continues. What now? That's a good hit! Wow! Goes down! Both combatants are down to their last Pokemon. We're down to the last Pokemon. It's in no condition to fight. There's just one Pokemon aside now. The battle is coming right down to the wire. It's Frozen Rock Salt. Yeah, it's a hit. The intense battle continues. Now, is there nothing you can do now? What'll it do? The special stat is that sparks are flying in this heated match. Being unable to move hurts. How's that? Oh! Oh! Is it down and out? And there goes the battle! We're in the last half of the tournament. Things will get white hot. Begin round 5. Here's the first move. Flying blow to the torso. That was quick. Down already. This is a wild one from the word go. Oh, it's Gengar. How will the type difference affect battle? Wow! The special stat is that. That's a confused way. It's confused! Sparks are flying in this heated match. A psychic blast! Perfect day! Oh! Is it down and out? There's a distinct difference in the number of remaining Pokemon. Oh, it's my turn! The remaining Pokemon count is 3-1. The battle has become one-sided. It shook off its confusion. Right, that's sir! Wow, that's an effective hit! What's this? It's not very effective. What a furious battle! Savage attack! That's the weak spot! Wow! Going down! And there goes the battle! Neither one is conceding an inch. Combatants face each other. It can't make a move. Severe hit. The crowd's excitement is building over this hot battle. Pathetic hit. Wow! Going down. We're waiting for the next Pokemon. Oh, it's Rhydon! It has to make up for lost ground. How will the type difference affect that? They go into battle poses. It can't make a move. Earthquake! Good hit! Oh! Is it down and out? That defeat means a Pokemon swap. Oh, it's Vaporeon! This is a fight between two different types of Pokemon. The Pokemon returns to its Pokeball. Oh, it's Cartridge! What's this? Attack power down. How will the swap Pokemon fight? There's the attack! Natural heat spot! What now? Natural heat! Sparks are flying in this heated match! There it goes! Devastate! And it's down! There's only one Pokemon left in reserve. Oh, it's Arcana! The remaining Pokemon stock is 2-1. The tense battle continues. Ah! Perfect game! What's next? That's a good hit! The crowd's excitement is building over this hot battle. Right, that's sir! Now, that's an effective hit! Wow! Going down! And there goes the battle! This is it, the semi-final! No one wants to lose having come this far. What'll it be? Nature Death! It popped up in special rating. What a furious battle! What'll it do? And the weak spot! Oh! Is it down and out? We're waiting for the next Pokemon. Now. Oh, it's Articuno! The Pokemon are entirely different types. They strike fighting poses. What's this? That's a good hit! It flew up into the sky! Sparks are flying in this heated match. What's next? Oops, that's a miss. What now? Harsh blow! The crowd's excitement is building over this hot battle. Combatants face each other. What'll it do? Special Bat is down. The air fight continues. The intense battle continues. It's building energy for the next attack. What's this? Heavy damage! Fireworks are flying in this battle. What's next? Hit the weak spot. Wow! Going down! There's a difference in the number of reserve Pokemon. Oh, it's Rhydon! There's only one Pokemon against 3. The battle has become one-sided. What now? Special It's one Pokemon against two now. The combatants are making sparks fly. A Psychic Blast! Good hit! Oh! It's down! And there goes the battle! This is it, the semi-finals! No one wants to lose having come this far. Here's the first move. Laser Dip! Hyper Beam! Pathetic hit! Taken down on the word go! We might be in for a one-sided affair. Oh, it's executive! It has to make up for lost ground. The Pokemon are entirely different types. Severe hit! It can't make a move. What a furious battle! A Psychic Blast! Boom! And it's down! What Pokemon will be fighting next? Oh, it's Cartridge! We're evenly matched at two Pokemon aside. Neither Pokemon is backing down. What do it do? The attack wasn't effective. What's this? Special attack is down. The crowd's excitement is building over this hot battle. It's restoring HP! What now? That was weak. The intense battle continues! We go into battle poses. What's that? It's not very effective. What'll it do? Special stat is down. One still raring to go, but the opponent appears beat. This is it, the semi-finals! No one wants to lose having come this far. Here's the first move. Pathetic hit! Hyper Beam! Laser Dip! Taken down on the word go! There's been major action already. Oh, it's executive! How will the type difference affect that? What now? Special attack is down. It can't make a move. Sparks are flying in this heated match. A Psychic Blast! Yeah, it's a hit! Wow! Going down! We're waiting for the next Pokemon. Oh, it's Articuno! The Pokemon are entirely different types. There's the attack! It's doubly effective! What'll it do? Special stat is down. The intense battle continues! Ice Beam! Round zero! Oh! It's down! There's only one Pokemon left in reserve. Oh, it's Kadabra! The remaining Pokemon stock is 2-1. The tense battle continues. What's this? Special stat is down. It's flew up into the sky. Fireworks are flying in this battle. How's that? Oops, that's a miss. Whoa! A static hit! Is it down and out? We're down to one Pokemon aside. Oh, it's Rhino! There's just one Pokemon aside now. The battle is coming right down to the wire. What now? Nature Death! Earthquake! There, it's a hit! Wow! Going down! And there goes the battle! This is it, the final battle! Who will bask in the glory of the championship? The commands are issued. Changing Pokemon! That Pokemon must not have been the right choice. Oh, it's Starmie! What will it be? That was weak. What a furious battle! They go into battle poses. What's this? Super effective! What now? It didn't do much damage. The crowd's excitement is building over this hot battle. It's restoring HP. What's next? The attack wasn't effective. The intense battle continues. What'll it do? Whoa! That's hot! What's this? It's not very effective. Neither one is conceding an inch. Combatants face each other. Here's a Pokemon change. Oh, it's Sora! It's restoring HP. Will this Pokemon swap change the flow of battle? Now. What now? Stunning damage! Here it comes! Thunder! Oops, that's a miss. Fireworks are flying in this battle. What's next? Special attack is back. Savage attack. Oh, the attack missed. There's a big difference in HP. They go into battle poses. The trainer's changing Pokemon. Oh, it's Martha. There it goes. Whoa, looks like a bad Pokemon choice. How will this swap affect the outcome? Right, that's sir! Oh, this Pokemon looks wrong. Oh, is it down and out? We're waiting for the next Pokemon. Here's a Pokemon change. Now, this one's ready to drop. How will the type difference affect that? A Psychic Blast! That's a good hit! Wow! Going down! There's a difference in the number of reserve Pokemon. We're down to the last Pokemon. This one's already taken serious damage. It's worrisome. The remaining Pokemon count is 3 to 1. Right! Thunderbolt! Super effective! Oh! It's down! Congratulations! The champion has been decided!
Man, to go from those losses in the semifinal round to just a straight up Starmie sweep on a really solid team, really, that the old gentleman there had at the end. But, you know, that's just how Stadium goes. It's really just a lucky Surf prediction off of that Moltres coming in, and then a crit on the Lapras, which is so bulky that it probably would have taken at least a couple more T-Bolts to get through it. So, oh well, that's the Poke Cup. Bye!